Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
And welcome into Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Chad Brillante with you here alongside the former NFL coach, Kay Stevenson, kind enough to make time for us each and every afternoon. It's really the perfect football weekend. If you think about it, you got a pretty decent game going on in college tomorrow. LSU and Alabama, 1 versus 2. A chance for – it is always a big game. But when they're 1 and 2 in the nation – and, yes, I understand Ohio State got the 1 spot in the college football playoff. I'm just talking about the polls going into the week. Regardless, they're the top 2 teams with Ohio State, however you want to slice it. And then you've got Tua and Joe Burrow expected to play the battle of who will take that next step to be the front runner for the Heisman Trophy. So there's so many storylines to this matchup. A game that we're used to seeing in a low-scoring grind between 2 defensive-minded, smash-mouth, old-school football-type coaches. And now we're going to see probably a lot of points being put up in this one with the offense and the fire with the guys out there at quarterback. And then high school football. Huge games all over. Just talked to a number of people. Jen O'Brien over at Booker T. Washington. She sent me a video of the pep rally. And Washington right now, a lot of the parents are heading on the road to Daytona-Maitland. They've got a big game tonight in 1-6A. New Smyrna Beach is heading over here. That's the shark capital of the world, by the way. Even beats out. I live right down the road. It's Scambia is going to be taking on New Smyrna in that one. So the Gators have a home game right here and could have home field as we talk to Brian Ahutz of the Pensacola News-Journal throughout. Baker County, Coach joins us. Baker County, I know you have some ties right there to that area. They take on Pine Forest today, so that game will be right here in Pensacola. It's good to talk to you, and looking forward to talking about all the games, Coach.
You bet. Good to be here.
Now, what are your ties? Were you the athletic director for Baker County, or?
I was athletic director and head coach there 1 year.
Okay.
1 year, yeah.
Okay. Good people though. They love their football there.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I remember we had a Baker County, West Florida when they played against West Florida High School a couple years ago. I got to call the game, and I'll never forget how passionate they are because one of the bands, which was not their band, apparently got off the bus, and I was just assuming since they got off the bus it was their band. It was extra band members for West Florida. I go, Baker County's busking. You moron! All the comments of where our bus we're back home. How stupid is this guy? And I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna take it. Their band didn't travel with them, and I felt the repercussions on Twitter and social media. But their passion, they're loyal, I guess you could say in a lot of ways. Jay Northview, that's a big game as well, and it's just good to see our local high school. You've been there, done that, Coach, and good to see because this is what the kids have worked for. Those 2-a-days, high school level, one thing we don't have to talk about in the media is getting paid for their brand, likeness, all this stuff. All they're doing is they're working their butt off to get an education. They're working to maybe get that date with the high school girlfriend right there. There's the cheerleader. But no matter what those kids are doing right now, they've worked their tails off because I've been there, you've been there for this moment in high school football for what they're about to do today.
Yeah, some of the greatest moments really in football for me were in high school. I really enjoyed every minute of it. We had a unique situation in Pensacola at that time. Pensacola High was really the big school in town, and other schools were. But we played and Coach Scoggins, who was the head coach when I first played up there. But we would play teams from all over the South, and didn't have playoffs back then. But the reason he would schedule these games, Chad, is because there was a paper in Kansas City that was the de facto named the national champion, high school national champion, de facto national champion. Okay, there was they went through all these different states and named somebody. Well, we would play in order to be recognized in that, because Pensacola High, I think in 1958, was the national champion. They were the national champions. But we would play. We'd play the top team in Tennessee, and then we'd play the team that won the Tennessee State Championship the year before was Knoxville Central. We'd play them. We played the top team in Kentucky the year before. I think that was a Catholic school, Louisville, Holy Trinity from Louisville. And we always played the top team in Louisiana, which was Jesuit back from New Orleans. All the Alabama top schools. And by playing, I think we only played 2 teams in Florida. Maybe Panama City and Leon. But the reason for playing that type schedule, it drew tremendous interest here. I don't think there was ever a game with less than 11 or 12,000 people out there, and it gave national recognition. And it was something of tremendous interest, and my goodness, for the players there, I know it was always great to play somebody from Tennessee or Kentucky or whatever. And anyway, just food for thought. It's kind of interesting what Pensacola has done over the years. Always had excellent high school football, and certainly look at what they're doing right now with Escambia, Washington, and Catholic. I think we got 2 undefeated teams right now, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, Catholic is not playing tonight because they have a bye.
Yeah,
so they've done a great job, and I think a team that, if you look at this is, and the cool part about these stories too, and I love a feel-good story in sports or in anything in life, a guy that is getting a second chance at life or whatever it is. But when it comes down to high school football in this area, 2 schools in Catholic and also Washington over the last few seasons, they haven't been good. I mean, record-wise, I mean, I've called a lot of the games. I've been there. I've been to Garek-LeBeau Stadium, been right there, Booker T. Washington right there, and watched these games. And Coach, these were some bad football teams record-wise. They were getting beat by 40. And now this year, the culture had changed. The philosophy had changed. A lot of the same kids, too. That's the thing is, in high school football, you don't just get to have a whole new elite. It's not like the NFL where 15 free agents can go and then you get new guys and it's a whole new regime. Yeah. These are a lot of the same kids, but the culture has changed. They believed, and you get a couple playmakers and they start to get better and the confidence. And all of a sudden, these teams have turned into to playmakers. So that's a great story when you look. Escambia has been solid. They're a lot better this year. They're probably one of the best teams. They were able to go out there and beat Washington last week in a battle of undefeateds. But I look at these teams across the board, and a lot of teams that started the season, not the expectations were to be at the point that they are. And that kudos to the coaching staffs and what they've done.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, Pensacola High Pensacola high school football has always been strong. I can't remember a time when it was not. Maybe there was some juncture in there between then and now, but I don't remember it. Yeah.
Well, I remember too, and at this point too, Coach, it's going to be funny is because if you see people maybe a little younger with it's going to maybe be a little colder out tonight. So if you're out at Escambia High School or Pine Forest or Northview, and you see somebody with one of these jackets, looks like they've got a clipboard in their hand and they're sitting there taking some notes. People will be scouting. There'll be people out there watching some of these games. Once you get to postseason, more when you get closer to regionals and when you get to a venue like Orlando, a lot of these guys don't have. But believe me, people will be eyeing, and people with social media, look, all the big teams have it. I'll never forget that. It was pretty funny. I was in Las Vegas, and I had my dad's. I had a Florida Gator sweater vest kind of thing, and I was in better shape and a sharp dress and was in there. And I remember walking into the stadium, and I had, and this is Las Vegas, so they're not used to seeing all this, but I'd zip up Florida Gator jacket with like their lapel and a pair of jeans, and I went to the game, and it was a playoff game because one of my friend's dads who lived out there, his son was playing. Well, there was a kid named Solomon Pettin who was a really good player, and he was getting looked at by a lot of SEC schools. So I'm out there, and all of a sudden every parent was coming up to me and shaking my hand and like, it's really, thank you for coming out here. I'm like, what'd you tell him about me? Like, I'm a local play-by-play guy for Las Vegas 51ers. I know people that come out to Vegas to watch that. So I'm like, why are these people coming up and shaking my hand? I'm not even from here. But I realized after about the third handshake, they thought I was a scout for Florida. So they're making sure to be extra kind to me.
Oh, sure.
But I thought at that point, so I played the part at that point. I like made sure to look over and like pull out a fake notepad I had and been like doing so. But we had fun with it. But yeah, if you see a couple of those people, they're going to be out there watching some of these kids, and this is that time. So pretty exciting. If you're Florida fans, you need to jump on it, as Florida State today apparently talking about Deion Sanders. Now, Coach, as a respected NFL coach, you've at every level, you can get on the phone with. I love being part of the shows over the years and having the conversations of the good old days with Dick Vermeil or talking to Bill Polian and all the names that from Bobby Bowden's. And you look right now at a Deion Sanders. Obviously, he was a good player. He was very flashy, and everything about the Florida State culture right now is, hey, we're celebrating over the top on plays that we're down by 20 and just acting as a lot of people outside of the world. And it has nothing to do with I'm saying this right now, nothing to do with culture. It doesn't matter, white, black, Asian, does not matter. But if you're dancing on top of somebody, regardless of who you are, and your team's down by 30, and because you got to stop on a guy on 2nd down and 10, and now it's 3rd down and 1 on a 9-yard gain, but you made a hit, and you're dancing on him down 23, you're acting like a moron. And it has nothing to do with culture. It is something that that's a bad image for your team and your fans, and nobody wants to see that, I hope.
Oh, certainly. The whole thing. I mean, I'm sick of seeing this exaggerated celebration type thing. It's just, you would think somebody had invented a cure for cancer. My God. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And they don't realize, what they don't realize is how ridiculous it makes them look, that people are laughing at them, and it's demeaning to the sport itself.
It is.
It's demeaning to the sport to have people act like that. And it's just, I wish to goodness everybody could score a touchdown, turn around, take the ball to the official, give it to him, and jog off the field, and you can handshake and all that and in the right way, but these exaggerated celebrations are just terrible.
And it only happens.
I'm talking about every sport. I'm talking about every level. Whether it's high school, college, pro, it's just as bad in the NFL.
I mean, imagine, and sometimes you have to put it in terms of other sports to relate, because imagine in baseball, if you allow a 3-run homer and your team's down 3-0 in the first inning, but then you strike out the next batter. Have you ever seen a pitcher like fist pumping and hitting people, and they'd be like, dude, we're down 3-0. You just allowed a 3-run jack. And we're not. No, the pitcher walks off with the demeanor like, don't talk to me right now. I'm in go mode from here on out. Like Verlander when he allowed that home run the first. So think about it in every sport term. In football, nobody wants to see that, and it's something where Deion. That's the name that's popping up. Look, I'm not getting any more of these. I'm going to sit back with the popcorn and watch this show unfold.
I would be surprised.
You'd be surprised,
I would be surprised. Well, he was a heck of an athlete and really a good guy.
Yeah, he is.
I like the guy. I'm just not sure that he's qualified to be the head coach at any level in college, much less at the D1.
He's never coached college football, ever. I mean, this would
And
just be a recruiting tactic if they're doing it.
I don't think that they would do anything like that, to be honest with you. I just don't think that would happen.
But, Coach, one of the reasons I bring it up is I don't think a group of people inside that, of athletic directors, former coaches, if a Barry Alvarez at Wisconsin, or you have an athletic director that's a former coach like a Philip Fulmer at Tennessee, that's probably never going to happen. But if you look right now, it has been made pretty clear, and you know as much as I do, that the alumni have a lot to do with this move. So a lot of these alumni, the people that might be making this move, I'd hope have more sense than that. But if David Coburn, who's sort of going to be out anyway as the athletic director, if this move is being made as more of a fancy flash in the pants move, I would hope that they have enough to not make this move. At this point, though, I think with all the speculation, this thing has turned into the rest of the country. I'm saying because I'm getting reports and we read every story. The rest of the country is turning this into a rodeo, a sideshow clown rodeo right now of what's happening between the Bob Stoops and the Deion Sanders. I'm looking at papers from all over, and there's a website where you can get papers from all over. And folks in Oregon and in California and in the Midwest, they're saying, what is happening here? We went from Bob Stoops, who said, I have nothing to do with this, to Deion Sanders. Whether they're reports or they're talking, but what happened to the names like Mike Norvell or a Mark Stoops or legit candidates, maybe a Matt Rule or people that those are their names that make sense, unlike the names that are getting thrown out now. And Bob Stoops would have made sense, I think, but it was up to Bob at that point. It wasn't up to Bob didn't need to take the job. The other guys, it would be a step forward in their careers.
Well, you hear an awful lot that goes on, and certainly rumor mill is tuned up to the top right now with something like this. But I heard yesterday from an FSU booster, big FSU booster, that he had heard that from inside that it was going to be a Stoops, one of the Stoops.
It's like 75 of them. So yeah.
So I don't know what that means.
A marker, Bob. Yeah.
That could be the younger. It would be probably. I'm just wondering, even if the Stoops at Kentucky took the Florida State job, I don't know. That would be a step up.
I don't think so.
For him.
It would anything at this point, and no offense, nice guy once again, but anything would be a step up from Willie Taggart at this point. So that's not. So if you're saying Mark Stoops is an upgrade,
no, I'm talking about between Kentucky and Florida State.
I agree. Well,
I don't know. You got better athletes. You're going to get better athletes down here. You got a better chance to win, I think. And you're in the ACC, so there are a lot of reasons, I guess, that would give you a better opportunity. But do you want to take on this? They've got a major reconstruction job to do with that whole football organization.
I think the Stoops name is not as much about the Kentucky job as much as he knows Florida State being there as a coach. He knows the recruiting ground. He did a good job while he was there. So if once again, to go back to if the alumni and a lot of those people, because it sounds like there's a lot of voices. A lot of times one guy will dictate the move that is made. Sounds to me like a lot of voices are chiming in on this. Based on that, maybe these guys remember sitting at those, like the Bobby Bowden dadgum 90th birthday parties with guys like Mark Stoops back in the day when it was his 80th birthday, and they're still friends with him. They still golf with him, So Stoops still has those relationships and those ties, which gives him more of an out than a guy like PJ Fleck, who now is clearly not going after signing that extension with Minnesota. However, a guy that also is somebody that has no ties to this area. That means something. We always look at people as commodities when it comes to the coaching world. But a Chris Peterson, whose name was always on every list, Chris Peterson had a son that had special needs, and his hospital was in the Washington area. So a flight from Boise to Olympia, I think it was in Olympia, wasn't that far. But having to go to Gainesville when they were talking about him being the Gator coach or him being the next coach, that's a huge jump. And on paper it made sense to make that jump. Why would you not go from Boise to Florida? But it has a lot to do with other things, Coach, that people don't talk about on a daily basis.
Oh, absolutely. It's usually a combination of things on any major decisions. And I think you're right. Listen, this thing's just going to be nothing but speculation and dead air until they make a decision down there. And so we got a lot to do today. We got to pick a lot of
Let's get to it. Let's get to the games, and we'll get to those. Let's get to our college football pick'ems. You can weigh in as well at 850-623-1330 on our text line, 850-623-1330. You can weigh in. It's the LSU and Alabama game for a chance at $25 to Calvert's in the Heights, and also a free for two people, 2 hours of free shooting down at the Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Good gift right there to have. All you have to do, we already have a number of people weighing in. LSU and Alabama. Pick your score prediction and your name, and we will get back to you with the winner. Right now, currently, it is a 6.5-point spread in favor of the Alabama Crimson Tide. The over-under set at 64 points. So, according to Vegas, they're expecting a 35-28 type ball game in favor of Alabama. We're coming back for more right here. It's Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
It's happening. Wherever plays are being made, tickets are being sold, and fans are lining up. ADP is designing a better way to work. With industry-leading HR, talent, time, benefits, and payroll, more companies rely on ADP than any other HR partner to help step up their game. From small business to global enterprise. See how ADP can help you and your people achieve what you're working for at design.adp.com. ADP, always designing for people.
When weather hits, the right wiper blades make all the difference. That's when the Michelin Man is on your side, helping you see better and drive safer with new Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. Designed with exclusive SmartFlex technology or frameless beam design, Michelin blades flex to the curve of your windshield, giving you unparalleled, streak-free, long-lasting, all-season performance. So when the going gets tough, be ready with Michelin Premium Wiper Blades. It's a difference you can see. Available at Walmart, Menards, Mills, and Plains.
The Paul Feinbaum Show.
Everything you wanted to happen hasn't happened.
Oh my gosh, that's all any of y'all want to talk about is Alabama.
You're really not understanding the conversation, but anyway, we can move on.
Alabama's dynasty has just begun.
Hold on a second, Charles. Somebody wants to talk to you.
I don't want to talk to that compelling moron.
He's nothing but a lame-headed old man.
2 till 5 every weekday afternoon. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You're out of your freaking mind, cowturd.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station, your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back. It is Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We have a number of picks coming in here, so I'll get to those coming in as Heath White, 27, LSU, Alabama 16. We've got Jim, Alabama 13, LSU 17. Jesse, with his score prediction, 42, Bama 37. He has LSU 42, Bama 37. From Jesse here, Steve Van Smack, the Tide 40, LSU 37. Also, you have the score 49 to 47. So if you have that number, make sure that is Ethan coming in there. 850-341 Oh, sorry. I just almost gave the guy's number. It's been a long day. I almost just read the guy's cell phone. No, your score, Charles, by the way, is 42-31. He's got that score. And we've also got 42-38 with LSU to win that game. And that's coming from Charlie. And also we have another text says, I like Penn State this week against Minnesota. So there you go. So somebody wanted to weigh in on that.
Got a lot of people who think it's going to be a high-scoring game. A lot of points there. Yeah,
I think so as well, Coach.
It could well be that. So
I think in this game, because of the hype, think about it. The one thing is, if both of these offenses, the passing games, these are two of the best passing games not only this season, but we've seen in college football in a while the way they're playing lately. If they want to go out there and aerate it, now they haven't also played against cornerbacks with the competition of what they're going to go against. The man for man, you got athletes on both sides of the ball that will be able to coverage and keep up with these guys, which is rare. I mean, when Jerry Jeudy lines up against a Vanderbilt guy, he just needs to make one move and he's in the end zone. When he goes up and you got Grant Delpit back there and guys like that, you have a shot. But I think that both these guys, if Tua is healthy, both coaches are going to want to play because I know as a coach you want to play in these games a chess match, physical, grind it out. You want to be in control. And when you start throwing the ball over the field, you lose a lot of that control. The farther you spread it out, the less control you have over the game and being able to control the football inside the tackles. However, with both of these guys, I think they've proven it over and over and over that they're both confident in trusting them not to make the poor decisions.
Yeah, I think so. And you always would prefer to see some balance in your offense, for a number of reasons. You'd like to have a running game to go along with a good passing game. Now, both these teams have relied on the passing game for most of their scoring, or at least to put them in position for most of their scoring. So it's going to be a wild one. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and they're both going to move the football. Your point about the defenses is well taken, and certainly both quarterbacks are going to be throwing against a better defense than they're accustomed to seeing. So we'll find out how that plays.
Should be regardless, it's going to be exciting. Like you said, perfect time of the day, 2:30.
Yeah.
This is going to be the game. There's going to be, if you're out in the this is going to be that type of game where it's going to be pretty much, if you're wondering why things look like a ghost town at 2:30, is because people will be indoors watching television at that point around here in this area. Looking at the Ohio State Buckeyes, right now Chase Young out versus Maryland due to potential NCAA violation issues. We don't know a ton outside of that. He accepted a loan from a friend. He said he paid it back already. This was 2018. He made a mistake, and seems like he's got his head on straight. He's made the right decision so far. He's a heck of a player. I mean, this is what and Ohio State's been producing that defensive ends with the Bosas and what they've done with so many big names. But he is he's going to be the defensive player of the year if he stays on track.
There's no question about that. He's probably right now the most dominating football player in the country.
Yeah, he's ranked number one according to the pundits Mel Kiper, Todd McShay. They have him ranked as the number one overall player right there, and he's a game changer. He truly is. But hopefully this story straightens itself out. I know there's other teams out there. If you're Alabama or LSU, you might be saying, hey, I don't mind a violation. If we have to play you in the playoff without him, would be extra nice for our quarterback. I hope, as a fan of sports, if you're not a fan of one of those teams, you want to see, I've always said, Coach, you want to see Goliath battle Goliath. You want the best, and you want these. I don't want Ohio State. I don't want Texas. Even though I feel Alabama would have won that national title that year, regardless. When Colt McCoy got knocked out in the first drive, yes, Alabama deserved that national title. They did everything to deserve it that year. And Marcel Darius's hit physically knocked Colt McCoy out with his strength. But not getting Colt McCoy at that moment was just disappointing to the rest of the country to say we wanted to watch the great, the battles in that moment.
Yeah, I think we all prefer that. Now there may be
there's a couple Alabama fans that probably are disagreeing.
There's some people sitting there, and some people sitting there with some money involved.
Yeah,
really could care less. But anyway, let's take a look at some of these things that are going on here, Chad, and what we think may happen.
Let's get to some of these games right now as we'll take a look here. We'll get to college first and then the NFL. Coach, let's start things off here as we get set to go here for a game that all of a sudden has become a little more exciting, and that is Penn State and Minnesota. They'll battle out. It's an 11 o'clock kickoff at ABC, and both teams are 8-0 in this matchup.
Very exciting ball game. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, will be at Minnesota.
It will, and it's a 6.5 point spread in favor of Penn State.
Okay, and
expecting 41-degree temperatures.
Both undefeated. Should be a heck of a ball game. Minnesota, this is the first time since 1941 that Minnesota's been in this position.
Wow.
So go Minnesota. And I think, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Minnesota plus the 6 points, certainly.
Let's get.
But I think Minnesota may win it outright, right?
I don't want to steal. This is your show, but I'm gonna wink at you and say I'm with you on that one, and I think I'm not giving you any. Penn State's probably a better football team, roster-wise, but you're never gonna see Minnesota in college football more up for this game. You know what I'm saying? This is the biggest they'll be up. This is everything. Every kid on campus is getting flyers right now that you wear this color shirt and you better be there this time. And Penn State, they're thinking they're getting ready for Ohio State next week. So this one they better not overlook Minnesota in this one. Vanderbilt and Florida. Coach, Florida Gators a 27-point favorite, but they had the disappointing loss in Georgia. In Jacksonville against Georgia. But right now, this is just not a good Vanderbilt team. Derek Mason's probably on his way out. Even though Vanderbilt's expectations aren't through the roof every year, they've taken a step back from where they were starting to creep. This is a team in Florida that should win this game and win it handily at 27 points.
Yeah, I think Florida's going to win it handily. And I'll go ahead and take them with the point.
Why not? Yeah. It's going to be up there anyway. It's going to be that high. Baylor and TCU, a matchup that a lot of people are going to keep an eye on because if Baylor wins this game, they move to 9-0. And regardless of what we think, the controversy will be there. If Baylor wins TCU and then they found a way to beat Oklahoma, which is doable with Oklahoma's defense, but if they go undefeated, that will stir a lot of controversy if they win the Big 12 at undefeated and a one-loss LSU or Alabama is left out. So it's going to be I think a lot of the country and the pundits are hoping Baylor loses to ease the pain of what could cause chaos. But TCU this week could happen.
Yeah, we said last week, Baylor could put another crimp in this whole thing, and it could happen. I like Baylor. I like what they do.
Good coach, too, Matt Rule.
Got a good coach, and listen, that could happen. I'm going to take Baylor in this ball game.
Yeah, TCU, by the way, is on their third-string quarterback in this one. They just beat Texas. They're riding that high, but a 4-4 team. Gary Patterson has had better teams. LSU and Alabama, we'll save that for last. But let's get to Iowa, Wisconsin. This is a smash mouth. This is old school. It's like every time you watch Iowa and Wisconsin, you get like a 1960s kind of vision of, these grinded out old school games. It's going to be a cold weather game, 39-41 at kickoff. But both teams 6-2. Both teams another consistent season. You expect them to be in one of those bowl games in Orlando that finish, and that the people go down and watch. Who do you like in this matchup?
I like Camp Randall. I like Wisconsin. I really do. I think it's going to be a tough ball game. I think, where is it? At Iowa?
No, it's at Wisconsin.
At Wisconsin.
Wisconsin's a 9 points favorite.
I like Wisconsin.
And let's not take away anything from what Jonathan Taylor already through right now 8 games this season. Through 8 games, he right now has over 1,000 yards. So I hope that people, even though he's lost a few games, don't take away the credit of how good a great season. I mean, 2 weeks ago, he was looked at as one of the Heisman hopefuls. So an incredible season for Jonathan Taylor, their running back, and that Wisconsin team. Looking at the matchup between Missouri and Georgia. Now, Coach, Georgia's already proven, losing to South Carolina, that they can take a step back, that they're not unbeatable at home. Now they got Missouri in a game where they're building this confidence. They're starting to play better football. Jake Fromm's getting more confident each week with this offense with a new arsenal of receivers. But Missouri's they've got a good team. They're sort of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You don't know what team's going to show up, but they're 5-3. Georgia's a 17-point favorite in this matchup. Does Georgia take care of business at home against Missouri?
Oh, I think Georgia takes care of business plus. I think they beat the heck out of them. I'm not real sold on anything about Missouri. I mean, give me something great to hang on to. I don't have anything. Don't like the quarterback. Don't like their total offensive package. Defense, Defensively, they will stay in there and battle with you, but they're just not strong enough and talented enough to win. I don't like Missouri. I like Georgia big in this particular game.
I agree. I think more people realize now it wasn't as much Kelly Bryant, who came with the accolades of being an athlete, but it was more about Clemson than it was Kelly Bryant back in the day. When you had a quarterback in Lawrence get a chance to take over, they win a national title. So looking at the matchup right here, another one that a lot of people have their eye on this week, battle between Iowa State and Oklahoma. Now, two reasons that this game is intriguing. One, for down here in the South, Iowa State, Matt Campbell, still to many people, is expected to be up there as one of the front runners for the Florida State job. He's a good coach, solid coach, would be a step up in his career, and he also is a good recruiter. Iowa State's 5-3, but they're taking on an Oklahoma team that is 7-1 and still has a shot at the college football playoff. Oklahoma's a 15-point favorite in this matchup.
Where's the game being played?
It's played in Norman, Oklahoma, Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, you got to go with Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma will rebound and play extremely well.
And then our final game here, the one we talked about, Coach, with LSU and Alabama. We've talked about it all week. It's our Pick'ems contest. We have a number of picks coming in. This is the game, the 2:30 matchup, CBS game of the week. Tua is going to play as of what we know right now, but we could have told you that 2.5 weeks ago. Coach, LSU and Alabama.
Well, you know what we'd like to do, Chad, we've done since day one, is go back through what gives you the best chance to win a football game. And you can start and just go down the list. And if you start with coaching, you got to say Alabama. They're playing at home in one of the – they could say all they want to about Baton Rouge, and it's a tough place to play. And Clemson is a tough place to play. None of them are tougher than in Tuscaloosa, the University of Alabama, which now seats 104, 102, 103,000 people. Best receiving core, even though Louisiana State, LSU, has a couple of good receivers, they don't have as good a group as does Alabama. A week off to prepare, again, goes back to coaching. Gives coaching another step in the right direction, gives them another plus. I think Alabama's football team overall would be, you'd have to consider them really no deficiencies. So you're going to say, well, LSU's got maybe more experienced defense at the linebacker position. Yeah, that's true. But with those young, fast inside backers now, this may be their best way to play for Alabama against the five wides and so on. So I'm looking at the whole football team. I don't see any great advantage for LSU anywhere except that they're a good football team and can throw the football. Now that's their biggest plus. They have a pro passing game, and if they get hot, it's going to be tough for Alabama. I just think Alabama's got enough to keep the lid on and enough to move the football and put points on the board. Being at home, they'll find some way to win it.
I got it too, and here's a fascinating stat for you, Coach. Not surprising with what Nick Saban's accomplished, but right now, currently in college football, Nick Saban's teams over his tenure at Alabama, they have more national titles during the course of Nick Saban's career at Alabama than home losses. It's a pretty decent stat to have. He has 5 national titles, only 4 home losses. So it's not that simple to do. He has, better chance of him winning a national title than losing at home, pretty much. Right. That's how it's said.
We talk about that game. We talk about Alabama. I am not discrediting LSU in any way.
No.
To me, this is the de facto national championship game.
It's going to be exciting, and we've been looking forward to it all week. We've been looking forward to it all season, and now it's here. When we come back, we'll make our picks in the NFL. Busy week ahead. We're at now the midway point of the NFL season. Going forward, the contenders starting to separate from the pretenders. But if you look at the AFC and NFC playoff pictures, both of these teams, both leagues have a chance to send a lot of teams, and a lot of them fighting for only a few spots. Coming back for more right here on Talk Football with Coach K.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station. Your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
And welcome back. Talk football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Happy Friday to everybody out there. Chad Brillante with you here. Well, busy week ahead right there in high school football tonight. The playoffs begin. New Smyrna Beach will take on Escambia. They're probably in town, so we welcome them in. Washington and Maitland. Washington already. I talked to a number of the people this morning, Jen O'Brien and a lot of good folks over at Washington. They had their pep rally this morning, and they will send their team out to Daytona Maitland as well. You got Baker County, a good group of team right there. Coach had a chance to coach and be the athletic director there for a year. And at Pine Forest. Pine Forest is now heading, has a home playoff game right here with LD Clardy and the team doing a good job right there this season and really starting to pick up a lot of energy late into the year as well. Jay and Northview will battle as well for a game. A lot of people a little north of I-10 will be watching tonight, and some good people out there, some good football, and that game will be, all the games are at 7:30. In college football, LSU and Alabama, and then UWF. We talked, Coach, yesterday. This is an exciting game, and it's a big game too, because I don't think people understand, you do from living in this area, but the quality, Valdosta State, and what they've done in college in football when it comes to Division II is very similar to the way that teams like Alabama and other ones have owned, or even if they're not the champion, they're always looked at as a big dog. Valdosta State has been that way since I've been little, I remember, when it comes to Division II football.
Yeah, they've had a good program out there, very good program. In fact, I think they were number one in the nation last year, led the nation in total offense, and Kerwin Bell, the old Florida quarterback who accidentally played for me in Canada. Kerwin was the head coach there.
Saw him on TV last night with USF.
Yeah, he's down at USF.
Yeah, they were playing Temple last night. They saw. So I saw him out there. USF has problems. It's not all about coaching, but he's been around there for a while. And then you had the Leach and Mummy and a lot of guys. Valdosta State's produced a lot of good coaches and players. But UWF and Coach, they got one thing. Coach, if you have Coach Shinnick on your side, you should feel like you're walking into any stadium with a chance to win.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Outstanding job that he's done, he and that staff. They just couldn't say enough about them.
Well, let's get to our NFL games this week. So we'll be rooting the Argos on as they have the game tomorrow. And you can catch that game right here on ESPN Pensacola. And the Argos, number 20 in the nation at 7-1, 7 straight victories. Looking at the games this week in the NFL, though, Coach, we'll make our pick'ems now on some of the biggest games in Week 10. Getting set to go here. This is a pivotal matchup because one of these teams is the way they started the season till now is going to be very disappointed. The Detroit Lions and Chicago Bears, old school type of smash mouth rivalries back in the day from these two. And Mitch Trubisky has 5 touchdown passes in 7 starts this season. That's not good. He's been telling them to turn off the TVs. He doesn't want to hear the noise. Matthew Stafford, obviously a better quarterback, but can they go into Chicago and get the win?
I think I got to give the edge here to Detroit at some point. I think Detroit has an opportunity. Like you say, they got a better quarterback, and I think they're going to be. They're in every ball game. It's not a ball game they've been out of. So I'm going to take Detroit.
This is your typical, almost good old NFL game where it's hard to pick. I mean, it's anyone. We wouldn't be shocked on coming in here on Monday, regardless of who wins. We wouldn't be shocked. I mean, it's looking at the next matchup here, the Baltimore Ravens and Cincinnati Bengals. Now, A.J. Green came out and said he's going to play. Then Andy Dalton must have had like a coming to Jesus moment. He's not playing now. So Dalton's like, come on, man, I was out all those games. So he's not playing. A.J. Green is back out. They're playing now against the Baltimore team that's riding that high against the Pats. Any chance that this is not a blowout?
Well, there's a chance it's not a blowout. I don't think there's much of a chance that Cincinnati could win.
You have Ryan Finley starting at quarterback, the guy from NC State. He's
Yeah.
getting his first chance.
Yeah, he's not a bad quarterback. I think they're going to like him.
You'd rather play with the energy with the guy that hasn't been on the field than Andy Dalton right now.
Yeah.
Baltimore wins this game. I think. Okay. Buffalo and Cleveland. This is a game where at the beginning of the season, you might think the records could be flipped. Buffalo 6-2, the Browns 2-6. They're 0-3 in the dog pound right there. Cleveland, though, with all that being said, is a 3-point favorite in this matchup.
I'm not surprised that the game is in Cleveland. I think Buffalo is playing exceptionally well defensively. They still are having trouble with continuity offensively. They're peaks and valley type offensive football team. Maybe they jump out there and hit a couple of big ones and score a couple of touchdowns, but then they can't maintain that cohesiveness to put somebody away. So this is a good game. This game Cleveland could win. Cleveland could certainly win. I think I'm going to go with Buffalo on this, but I really feel like this is a game Cleveland could win.
Kansas City and Tennessee, both these teams, Kansas City got a big win. They're 4-0 on the road, and Patrick Mahomes looks like he's coming back with the Tennessee Titans 4-5. It is Kansas City -6 at Tennessee.
Yeah, I think you almost got to go with Kansas City at this point. But look out, Tennessee will be ready. We'll be ready for them, and they'll have a home field advantage.
They can hit you in the mouth, and if Derrick Henry's having one of those days, they can rush a lot with him. Atlanta and New Orleans. I don't know if this is being kind to Atlanta. The spread is 13.5 points, but New Orleans, I feel like, it can do whatever they want with an Atlanta roster that actually has athletes, but it's a rivalry game. But the Saints are just a much better football team.
Well, they are, but I'll tell you, Atlanta's offense still very talented. If they hit it, decide to put on a show, they can do it.
They can win. There's some bad football teams that really don't have much shot when they play teams like the Saints and Patriots. Falcons have a roster where you should feel comfortable they can play in any game. So that's where we stand right now. Looking at the next one, Giants and Jets. We could just move on, but somebody has to win. I'm going to go with Giants. I hope the Giants win. I hope the Giants win this game the way I saw the Jets play last week.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Giants will win it.
Yeah, Jets are a very, very bad football team right now.
They're a football team and getting worse every week.
They've given up. Any of the good players are either, quote, hurt now or they've given up on that. And Darnold's taken safeties against the Fins. Arizona and Tampa Bay. This is a game. Kyler Murray versus Jameis Winston. And Jameis, at this point, is a 5-point favorite at home. But the Bucs had more. They had higher hopes than to be 2-6 at this point, obviously.
Yeah, this is one reason you want to have the NFL ticket, so you don't have to. If this is one that's on, you don't have to watch it. I think you got to probably take Arizona. I think I will take Arizona.
I like that as well for the 5 points, especially Miami and Indy. Yeah, have you talked? I know Frank. It's game week, getting ready to go here, but Brissett is battling some injuries. Have you gotten the official word? Is Brissett going to play? Not that it would probably even matter against Miami, but this would be a good week if he's going to rest. But I know he was questionable, Jacoby Brissett, on playing.
I do not have a final word on it,
okay.
but I'm going to take the Colts anyway.
Either way, it's not going to change our opinion on that one right there. Panthers and Packers, 5-3. Christian McCaffrey on pace to set every record, it seems, from a non-quarterback position offensively against the Green Bay Packers. That at home, Aaron Rodgers sort of smiled to say, are they done after a loss to the Chargers? They're back home in Lambeau. Always tough. Expected to be a Lambeau-type day. Rain, snow, and 35 degrees. So that bodes well for Green Bay usually.
Yeah. I think Green Bay will take care of business here.
L.A. and Pittsburgh. This is a matchup. The Rams are playing good football lately, but the Steelers just continue to find a way to win. It's the culture. They always just hard-working. They've always had that philosophy, even with Mason Rudolph. And it is the Rams, though, a 3.5-point favorite on the road in Pittsburgh.
Well, we're going to find out if the Rams have found their footing. That's the big thing, because they haven't as of this point this year. They haven't. I think they will. I think they'll come into Pittsburgh, come back east, and start playing like they know what it's all about between now and playoff time.
Steelers got a big win last week. Looking at Minnesota, and I agree, though, with you on the Rams. Minnesota and the Dallas Cowboys, a big game for both fan bases. Feel like they're legit right now. Contenders as they should, but it's only time will tell because the NFC playoff race is going to be very, very tight. 6-3 Minnesota versus 5-3 Cowboys. The Cowboys are a 3-point favorite at home.
I like Minnesota. I still like Minnesota. I think they'll be in the playoffs, and may they have a chance to go all the way. Put it that way.
Great running backs in this game.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Two entertaining running backs with Elliott and Cook in this one. Seattle on Monday Night Football against the 49ers. Great Monday Night Football game. Obviously, I know who you're rooting for in this one. But when you look at the matchup between Pete Carroll and Kyle Shanahan, and then the matchup with the quarterback play. By the way, this is a tough question. I was asked this the other day because this game came up. Your starting team right now, he's fairly young. He might be the MVP this year, but then you have Garoppolo on the other side, who is young and just wins every football game. Garoppolo or Russell Wilson, Coach? You couldn't go wrong with either right now.
You couldn't go wrong with either if you're looking for. And I think Russell Wilson is in the running for MVP. There's no doubt about that. He's playing exceptionally well. I think you got to take him at this point.
Yeah.
And probably going to have to take Seattle at home. They have a big advantage at home.
Well, this one's actually in San Fran.
Oh, it's in San Fran.
It's in San Fran. Okay. This one, yeah. And I'm sorry. I should have clarified that.
Always makes a difference in who you're going to pick as to whether they're playing at home or on the road.
I like San Fran to win this game big at home. They've been very good at home this year.
Yeah. If they're playing in San Francisco, I would agree. I think they got a chance. It's going to be a close ball game.
Yeah.
Now you got to look at the wins that Seattle has. I don't think there's any win over 4 points.
No, they're all close.
They're all very close. And basically they've been on the wings of the Wilson, the quarterback, on him making a play, pull him out of the fire type thing. I think San Francisco may put them too deep to pull out of the fire at home. So yeah, I would agree. I'll take San Francisco at home.
Okay, because I think Pete Carroll has an NFL contract. He either has to make a frowny face or jump up like a hooligan at the end and hug everybody on the field for a game-winning field goal. I think every week it seems like that's the story of Seattle. I don't think there's been one game where it's just been a normal walk-across handshake at the end of a game right there. But I know you enjoyed it when that guy came over on an accident. Broke his nose right there on the sidelines. You don't have to say anything. I'll say it. Looking at the matchup right there, we've talked about the biggest game. What is, Coach, the biggest game to you though this week? If you had to pick one, is it the Minnesota versus Dallas game? Is that the marquee matchup, or Seattle versus San Francisco?
I think you got to look at Minnesota Dallas right now, because whoever wins that football game is going to be in pretty good shape. The loser might have to start digging a little bit,
When we come back, we'll continue our Pick'ems contest here, LSU versus Alabama, and put a bow on this edition. Talk football with Coach K on this Friday.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Dude, it's game day and I'm fired up that football is back.
I know, but I'm bummed they don't show my favorite team on TV around here.
All right, well, what about that place Calvert's? They're a really cool English pub-style restaurant and they have a really good drink menu.
Yeah, but what about the game?
Don't worry, they have the NFL Sunday ticket and plenty of TVs, so we can watch any game that we want.
Ooh, I just looked at the menu and that Abbey Road burger is calling my name.
Calvert's in the Heights Restaurant and Bar, 3102 East Cervani Street, calvertsintheheights.com.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
You're listening to Pensacola's local and ESPN sports station, your favorite ESPN radio shows, plus high school and UWF Argo football. ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Final segment of Talk Football with Coach K goes right now. A reminder, you can get your Pick'ems contest, Calvert in the Heights right there, $25 gift card. Get some good food right there for lunch. Get yourself a good shepherd's pie. They got all the NFL package, college football games. A lot of open area, too. Walk outside. You can come back in, enjoy whatever you need to do out at Calvert's. And then Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range, 2 hours for 2 people. A free shooting out there for a chance to win with our Pick'ems contest. Just send in the LSU-Alabama game. We'll continue to roll it all the way through until even tonight. I'll promote it on the Sports Drive to let everybody know they've got the shot. It should be a fun one. Coach, this game, though, I want to get into LSU-Alabama real quick. We got a couple minutes before the end of the show, and I want to bring up the percent chance of this game, even in a loss, that one of these teams makes it back to the college football playoff. Now, there's a lot of football left. Penn State, Ohio State, Oklahoma's and Oregon's in the mix. But do you feel confident that even in a loss, one of these teams will get back to the college football playoff?
I do, Chad. I really do. I think, again, when you're looking at the 4 best teams in the country, it makes a difference. These are not the 4 most popular teams in the country. They are the 4 best. That's what it's supposed to be based on. I think it's would be very difficult to find anybody other than maybe one other team that would fit in that category with Alabama and LSU. Now, tomorrow's going to mean a lot. You can't have a blowout and both of them make it. But if it's a close game, they could very well both get in. And you could see any number of scenarios how that could happen. Alabama, LSU, let's say it's a 2.3-point game. And Alabama wins, LSU gets in. So the 2 of them are in. And then you got Ohio State, who pulls everything out up there. That would put them in. There's 3. You got Clemson sitting there. And you've got, if Clemson is undefeated and they've gone all the way through, I think it puts Clemson in. But if they're sitting there with 1 loss, Yeah, I don't know who they'd lose to. Do you?
I don't see. I mean, if they lose, it'd be a fluke.
Yeah.
It would be. I mean, the ACC, even in the ACC title game, they're going to play somebody. I saw the expected spread of the ACC title game, regardless, is between 24 and 30 points.
Ooh.
I mean, so they're not.
Jeez.
They'll play a Pittsburgh or a Duke, or it's going to be a team that they're.
Yeah.
They're not. The ACC is bad this year compared to the level of competition to be elite. They're all average across the board. They're all average, but nobody is doing great. It's exciting to see. I do think there's a legit shot the two teams. There will be an argument though if you have a one-loss Oklahoma or a one-loss Oregon, and you put an LSU or an Alabama, and you're right. I would agree with you. The LSU or an Alabama team in that case would deserve, to me, they're a better team, but there will still be an argument, especially knowing who's in charge of the committee, the athletic director of Oregon. So we'll see. As we got the basketball that Jeff Price brought in here in front of us. Coach, enjoyed it. Looking forward to a fun week of football ahead of us.
You bet. Look forward to it.
All
I
right.
really do.
For all of our high school teams, we wish you the best tonight out there. And good luck to all 6 teams in the area. We'll come back for more on Talk Football with Coach K.
Here. Catch all of the UWF Argos games and the big NFL games every Saturday and Sunday on Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. If you would like to be a part of ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000 or visit our website at ESPNpensacola.com.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
From coast to coast, the Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
Hour number 2 on this fast-moving Friday. It's Dan Grassa sitting in for Stephen A. Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. 888-SAY-ESPN is our telephone number, 888-729-3776. At Dan Grassa is where you can find me on Twitter. And tune in for a football doubleheader this Sunday as the Jets host the Giants, followed by Rams at the Steelers. It's presented by Vivid Seats. Pregame begins at noon Eastern on most ESPN radio stations. And from celebrating Newt Rockne to the fall of USC, the Down and Distance podcast, hosted by Ivan Mizell, covers 8 stories from the history of college football. Download today, available wherever you enjoy your podcast, presented by Cintas and LinkedIn. Time now to explore Week 10 of the National Football League a little bit further, and who better to do that with than our pal Louis Riddick, our ESPN NFL analyst. Haven't talked to him in a while. Louis, Dan Grassa in for Stephen A. How are you, my friend?
What's going on? How are you?
No complaints at all. How about the Raiders? A victory last night, 5-4 with 7 to go. Did you think that John Gruden would have this team as competitive as he has them?
Yeah, to be honest with you, Dan, I did. I got a chance to spend some time with him in training camp this year in preparation for opening weekend Monday Night Football. Got to see them practice, got to talk to the players, talk to the coaches, see them play in the preseason, kind of get the pulse of this football team and see it up close and personal, which really is the only way you can really get a good feel for when a team's going to – if the team is turning the corner and if a team is buying into its coach. And all indications then were that they were. All indications starting at the quarterback position were that Derek Carr loved how him and John have grew together as far as getting on the same page, seeing things the same way, being able to anticipate what each other would be most comfortable doing in certain situations. He was excited as hell about the season. Getting some of the players that they did in free agency, whether it be Tyrell Williams, wide receiver from the Chargers, Trent Brown, the offensive tackle from the Patriots, these guys were all fired up and excited about trying to change the narrative surrounding Oakland. And on top of it, they were very, very good players. So I believed right from that at that point in time that these guys were on the way to making things look much different for the Oakland Raiders in 2019 than had been previous. And then when you factor in the fact that they drafted some really good, young, talented players in the draft that were all very eager as a class to kind of take hold of this football team and say, the heck with the fact that we're young and that we're rookies, we're going to make this our team and we're going to change the way things happen around here and the way people talk about this football team. You factor all that in, I really thought that this team was going to be much better than people were giving it credit for. And John was determined to make a lot of people eat their words as far as was he worth $10 million a year? Should he have stayed in the TV booth? Was he really that good of a coach anyway? There was a whole bunch of people who were very much so motivated to have a good season. And you see they're having a pretty darn good season. And right now hitting the stretch of their schedule to where they could really, really do some damage.
Cincy and the Jets, the next 2 weeks, winnable games there. A lot of teams with losing records. But, you mentioned where he had this team last year, Lewis, the fact that gives Amari Cooper away to the Cowboys, Khalil Mack to trade for the Bears. People are saying, does Gruden know what he's doing anymore? Throw in the fact you had the Antonio Brown headache here from the summertime. I think you factor all those things together, but more specifically the Antonio Brown stuff, to not allow that to derail their season. I think kudos to the head coach.
No question. That's leadership 101 right there. And even more so, it's the people in the locker room who are not willing to let their football team and their season come apart before it even got started. And honestly, when you heard those guys talk about it, they didn't get to know Antonio anyway, really. He was never around. Right from the get-go, all the drama with him was starting. He only practiced with them a few days. He was only around them a few days. So they didn't really know what they were missing by him not being there anyway because he was never there. And quite honestly, these guys out there in Oakland were mentally strong enough and tough enough to realize that no matter how good he is, he wasn't worth all that headache. I mean, a lot of people on that roster, just like people on the outside, were looking at it like, can you believe all this crap that's going on here? We don't need this kind of stuff. And so they just kind of marched on. It was us on the outside who were kind of making a bigger deal of it, about how it would negatively impact their team to not have him than they were. They felt like they still had some good players and that they were only going to use all of the doubters and all the words that were being said that there was no way that they could win and be a productive offense without him. They were only using that as fuel, and that's what they've done.
ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick joining us here on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. The Sunday nighter where the Ravens took out Tom Brady and the Patriots, Louis, was that more of the Ravens offering a blueprint on how to defeat the Pats, or, in your opinion, do you think that's more of, hey, let's take the Baltimore Ravens seriously here in this AFC?
You know what? I think it's kind of like this. Football's so nuanced. There's so much give and take in a game, errors that you can capitalize on. Maybe there are errors that a team doesn't typically make, but nevertheless, you are what the score says you are, and you have to live with the results. I think the Patriots committed some untimely, uncharacteristic errors in that game that had they not done them, let's just say this, over the course of a 16-game season, they maybe do those kinds of things once. All right, when you're getting down in there and you stop a team and you're forcing them to kick a field goal like they forced Baltimore to kick a field goal on their first drive, and then you have a neutral zone infraction that gives them a first down and they score right after that, that's something you don't see the Patriots do. You don't see them do that kind of thing. You don't see Julian Edelman fumble the ball on a routine tackle that they then pick up and Marlon Humphrey returns for a touchdown. This is the most ball-secure football team over the past 4 years of any team in the NFL. So these are the kind of things. Now, Baltimore, to their credit, took advantage of them. But take out those two plays right there, and the whole game changes. The entire game changes.
Right.
Now, Baltimore, no question, Lamar is a problem. A freaking problem for any defense because of the dual run-pass threat that he is. He's a problem, and he gave them problems. And they're going to have to go back to the drawing board if they see them again to try and figure out how to slow him down a little bit better. I don't think there's a blueprint and, oh, my God, the Patriots are on the way down. Now we know how we've cracked the code and all. Look, man, every time you do that to New England, and people have tried to do that for years now, this is the year. This is the time. Bill can't figure – you always get made to look like a fool. But give the Ravens credit. They're a good football team. They have a MVP candidate quarterback. They have a heck of a head coach in John Harbaugh, a defense that's improving. They're going to be there. Don't be shocked if it's the Ravens and the Patriots or the Ravens and the Chiefs or some kind of configuration like that in the AFC Championship game because they're the cream of the crop. They're going to be there. But don't count Bill out. No. That game could have flipped on 2 or 3 other plays I didn't even mention. So it is what it is. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's just the way it goes.
You shouldn't be counting people out, certainly not with their track record, what they've done. And, hey, they're 8-1. They're in a lot better position than I think most of the NFL would want to be in right now. But you mentioned the Kansas City Chiefs, Lewis. When Patrick Mahomes is back in there, do you think it's a case as simple as, all right, Mahomes is back in there, now it's full systems go, or are you a little concerned about this football team?
Yeah, what's been cool about them is that they have still been able to put a lot of production together on the offensive side without Patrick and with Matt Moore in there, which is a testament to Andy Reid, a testament to Eric Bieniemy, the offensive coordinator, Mike Kafka, the quarterback coach. These guys are smart people as far as knowing how to utilize players. So I think whereas they miss Pat, I mean, look, he's the reigning MVP. Of course you miss him when he's not in there because he can do things that Matt Moore could never dream of. But with Kansas City, what ultimately is going to determine the success failure of this football team is the defense, is their ability to get off the field, is their ability to not have teams utilize what has been a tried and true blueprint against them, which is running the ball down their throat, hog the time of possession, have it be 30 minutes plus, keep Pat off the field, and just kind of bloody their nose play after play after play. If they can't figure out how to punch back and not have that blueprint executed on them, then they're going to be in for a dogfight to get to the Super Bowl, which is ultimately where they want to go. So whereas Pat obviously makes them a much, much better team because he's a once-in-a-generation